And joining us in studio this morning from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southeast New Mexico, Kim Dezendorf back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. I'm enjoying this cool weather.
Good deal. Well, thank you for hanging out a few minutes here while Congresswoman joined us on the radio here. We do appreciate that.
No problem.
Good news is if you're looking for a thing to get involved in this community that can make a huge difference with really not a whole lot of time on your part, well, then you want to listen to our next 15, 20 minutes here because Kim can give you lots of opportunities through Big Brothers and Big Sisters to impact the lives of children and things like that. It's really one of the, I mean, it really is. It's just you hanging out with a kid for an hour and having fun, doing stuff, going to see movies or going to the park or maybe it's doing homework together or going to have lunch or whatever. That's just you incorporating a child into your life and being a bit of a mentor and giving that kid an opportunity to do things that child wouldn't maybe get the chance to do. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So
we all need mentors. Like everybody needs somebody to be their cheerleader.
Now more than ever.
Yes, absolutely. And so, that this is a great opportunity to do that, to do that for a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah. So please, if you're thinking and looking like the summer months here and some people are, going to get a little more time on their hands now with kids out of school or, vacations and people taking a little downtime and stuff like that. Maybe this is a time to get thinking, say, hey, what can we do to make a better or bigger impact in our community? And volunteering is a great way. And I say Big Brothers Big Sisters is one of those organizations that can really help you do that. So.
Yeah. Well, and some of the kids that we serve are, when school is out, they're not as connected, and so summer can be a little rough for them.
So they kind of need that extra little person, or extra thing in their lives, or extra person in their lives to kind of to navigate some of that stuff. Yep. And that's really what it's about. And I'll tell you this, even before COVID, there's a list of littles waiting for a match with a big, and it's not their fault at all. But at the same time, it's a little torturous I'm guessing for kids, especially if they've been waiting a year or so to find a match. I don't care who you are on the planet. After a while, that's going to mentally mess with you a little bit. Like maybe it's me. It's not. Maybe it's me.
It can be discouraging,
and it's not. It's just the fact that we just don't have enough volunteers to step forward and say, I want to mentor a child.
Right.
So even for you just to come up and step up, we have kids that are ready and just can't wait to meet you and are ready to go and do some fun stuff.
Yeah. And we definitely need lots of people to sign up because, that we have, I think, 34 kids on our waiting list right now. And even if we had 34 volunteers.
That doesn't mean there's enough. Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean because, we want to match people but with a little based on shared interests and personality and all these things.
That would be like hitting the lottery 34 times in a row if you got 34 people sign up and all 34 match perfectly with the 34 children that are needed.
Yeah. So we need a big pool to draw from.
Yeah.
Yep.
And ideally, we would love to say, you know what, we don't have enough bigs ready for you, but give us a couple weeks or month, and we'll, you know what I mean? Where it's the opposite, where we got bigs waiting on littles. That would be the better problem to have.
That would absolutely be better. Yes.
But in the meantime, that's the way we can solve that problem. Is please come learn more about what it takes to be a big, and we've had a ton of these conversations. But A, you don't have to be a superhero. B, you don't have to really go out of your way a whole lot to incorporate this into your life. That's the part we want to stress. It's not like, oh, I'm a mentor. I'm going to mentor this child now. I gotta up my game here and plan these grandiose adventures and opportunities. And no, that's not every week or every. I mean, sure, once in a while, I'll be like, all right, special weekend, we're going to go do a big road trip, whatever it is. Once in a while, great, but that's not the point of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It's really incorporating this little into your life, and you get to go. Whether you got to go run errands. Hey, it's a weekend. I got to go take the dog for a walk. I got to go and get the car washed. I got to go do a couple things. Hey, let me see if my little wants to come and hang out with us while we go to the park and maybe go get something to eat and then go get the car washed or whatever. Yeah. That's Big Brothers Big Sisters. That's all there is. It's not today we're going to take them to the Grand Canyon. Next week we're going. It's not that,
Yeah.
It's not a hover around commercial. It's not.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a teacher or you don't have to have some great special skill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because everybody's got friends, right? And like your friend does something really great, and you like, hey, that's awesome. Like we all have that capacity to kind of
Sure.
just be a cheerleader for somebody, and we all do in some shape or form in our everyday lives anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of all this is. It's just this is gonna be a kid that you're gonna hang out with,
Yeah.
and you're just gonna do stuff. And and if the kid says, hey, what about whatever, they have a question, or you just answer it.
Sure.
Just be their friend. That's
Absolutely.
all that's really required.
Yeah, you're not a surrogate parent.
Right.
You're not. This isn't foster care.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
is-
you're not responsible
this is-
for the way this kid turns out.
Yeah,
You're
this
just
is
there to
mentorship.
be, just there to be a friend and be a good influence.
And as I say a lot here, the kids come from all backgrounds, all walks of life. There's single parent homes. There's multiple parent homes. There's foster care children. It's all of the above. You get kids that come from middle income, kids from low income, kids from higher income. It's not. There's no rhyme or reason. These are just kids that could use a mentor in their life, and they are recommended by anybody: parents, guidance counselors, preachers. I mean, it's other adults in this child's life that are saying, you know what, we think this child would benefit from being in Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that's all it is a group of kids that people said, you know what, this person needs another mentor in their life, or needs someone that they can talk to or hang out with once in a while.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot of times is you end up making a match, and you make a friendship for life, or for a very long time. And next thing you know, you become this person's little or big, and you hang out, and then next thing you know, life happens. They get older, you get older, and then they start going through their milestones in life, like high school graduation, college graduation. Next thing you know, you're sending notes and saying, hanging out or going to the graduation, and then you find out later on they get married and you're at their wedding, or at least you're sending a gift and talking and staying in touch, and next thing you know, every milestone in their life becomes a milestone in your life.
Yes.
And that happens quite often in Big Brothers Big Sisters, and every time that happens, then that's a huge victory, and that's what we want. We want to see those relationships. We'd love to see them last long after they're not bigs and little. They're all bigs.
Yeah.
Although as you get older, you get smaller, so the role reverses to the big becomes the little.
Right.
But that's the idea, is to have that. So
yeah, and it's another thing too is it's like I always want to stress that don't ever think that these are troubled kids, that because it's not that.
No.
We have littles that maybe she was real close with her grandma, and grandma passed, and now she look,
there's a void in her life
right,
that we're trying to help with.
And it's not that, or that mom and dad have a lot of kids and they work a lot of hours, and so they just don't have as much time as they would like, and so maybe the youngest really could use some extra attention, not
Absolutely.
because he has any problems, or just kind of needs a little extra attention, and I mean, yes, there are troubled children too, but that's not what we're about.
Yep.
Right? It's just being a positive influence and a friend
Absolutely.
to a kid that could use one.
We talk about we were just talking with the Congresswoman, and obviously the tragedy going on in Texas, that's on a lot of people's hearts this morning. There's going to be a lot of conversations about guns and things like that. You want to fix those problems? It's not that. It's getting involved with things like Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yes.
It's being mentors, being involved in these children's lives, being involved in people's lives, listening to them, talking to them. That's how we fix this problem that we're talking about. So you want to get mad and all that, we're all mad. But you want to do something active to prevent those kinds of things from happening. Big Brothers Big Sisters and organizations like it are your answer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, like Bill always used to say, our big thing is preventative. We get into children's lives and provide them with mentors before they ever get in trouble, before there ever is that opportunity for things to go wrong.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So maybe think about it and think, this is something that because and you're, I'm just saying we've got to we're at a point where we really need bigs, and it's I hate coming on month and month and say, hey, we need more bigs, and it's really a point where we need these volunteers to come up and step up. I'd hate for children to slip through the gaps here because we just don't have enough volunteers to service these needs. And so please, if you've got the time, if you got it in your heart, and time is not a lot of time. As a guideline, they tell like an hour a week or 4 hours a month, but that by no means is a regimented standard.
No,
that's a ballpark thing. If they're not going to be like, well, you only spent 56 minutes last week, you got to spend an hour and 4 next. They're not going to do that.
No,
it's not like that. But it's just a guidebook to say, hey, and sometimes it's like, hey, we only see each other once a month, but we're there all day together. You know what I mean? And it's however the schedule works. I mean, the kid isn't just literally sitting around waiting for you to come pick them up either. They've got their own lives in school, and you know what I mean? So you got to work all that out. So it's but it's fun. And here's the other part, and this is where I'll let you, I know I feel like I've been talking a lot, but the other part here, and Kim was talking about this earlier, just because we have 34 doesn't mean 34 adults will solve our problem right now. You guys have an extensive matchmaking process. So it's not like you're going to walk in and say, oh, you want to be a big? Great. We got a kid in the other room. Grab him. Let's go. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
There's going to be a background check, making sure you're above board as a volunteer, making sure for safety and security and all of that. So that's standard operating procedure. But then after the security and safety part is gone through, then it's Match.com and that kind of style of thing where you're going to ask maybe an exhausting amount of questions, but a lot of stuff to learn about you to see what makes you tick and what you're into and what you're interested in. And the kids have done the same thing. They've gone and asked a lot about their personalities, their likes and dislikes. And then Kim and her team and her staff, they kind of go through and say, this kid and this big, they have a lot of commonalities here. This might be a good work or a good match here. And so that's how they do this process. And then they start the meeting. And so even if you call Kim today and say, I want to be a big, it's still going to be a month or two before you actually get into a process of doing activities with your little.
Yes.
Because of the background checks, the matchmaking process, and training too. They just don't turn you loose and say, go have fun with your child. There's training. There's things to help you navigate how to make your things and tips and tricks to make your outings more successful. Other bigs and littles come and give you advice and work with you. It's a family. It's a community. So don't feel intimidated like, well, I don't have anything to offer or I don't have the time, because all of those things, big brothers, big sisters help you navigate.
Absolutely.
You just got to have the desire in your heart to do it.
That's it. That's, I mean, the old adage of it takes a village to raise a kid.
Yeah.
And so we need people. We need people to be involved.
I'm just kind of curious with the matchmaking process here. Just kind of talk about like some of the things y'all look for, like, because you hear opposites attract. So it's not like you guys are. Because in essence, you're not going to find clones of a big that say, "Here you go."
Right.
I mean, it's give and take a little bit. But what's some of the things you guys do when it's coming to the matchmaking process?
Well, the interview is like you said, it's pretty extensive, and they assess personality and they assess likes and dislikes and things like that.
Gotcha.
I wasn't prepared for this question.
Sorry.
I
just kind of
don't have a copy of the interview right now, but it's probably about 7 pages.
Gotcha.
Worth of, it's pretty intense. But don't be intimidated by that because they're really general questions of how do you feel about XYZ thing, and nothing political or anything like that.
It's really just to learn about you,
kind of life questions.
But I don't know if you guys had like a vibe, just like, it's like, well, I know this little, and the way they interact and talk, I think this, there's a lot of intuition and stuff kind of play a part. And I guess that's where I was kind of going with. I didn't want what was kind of like, what are the things you're looking for to say that's a good match? You know what I'm saying?
So the match support professionals, they already have done the interview with the littles, and they're very familiar with with their littles. So when they do the interview with a potential big, then yes, there is some of that intuition. And of course, all of these staff members are they are degreed social workers.
Gotcha.
So they already have the training to they
have the formal training, and now they're using that expertise to make these matches.
Right, and because it's not just personality and
sure.
There's
that comes into it, but it's not all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one, and I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, we think of like personality. That's just one sliver of the big pie that they look at to say. Then it's also, well, what's their common interest? What's foods they like? What's are they more active? Are they like to sit around and do stuff? Because obviously, if you get a kid that likes to run around, which is a lot, and then you got an adult who's kind of sedentary, then that probably not gonna match. You're gonna want a kid that's a little less wanting to run around to hang out with that one, and vice versa. If you got a kid that loves doing all that, you're going to want an adult that's equally kind of high energy to kind of match that vibe. And that's the kind of stuff I was talking about.
They generally, when they're conducting their interviews on the potential bigs, they about halfway through the interview kind of have an idea of like, I think I have a little that would be perfect for this person.
Sure.
And sometimes not,
sometimes it doesn't, it didn't just jive there.
We have referrals for new kids all the time. So just because today when we're doing your interview, we don't have a little in mind doesn't mean that tomorrow one won't call.
Absolutely.
So having that pool of volunteers is
absolutely
is going to be a big help.
And of course, we got about 5 minutes here before the radio, they make us get off the radio. But in another way, the bill, if maybe you don't have the time to dedicate to being a little. I get it, sometimes, but if you can't help that way, then donations and financially is something that is equally as beneficial to big brothers and big sisters. It takes on average, and I'm sure this has actually gone up because of COVID and inflation and everything else, but about $1,500 to support a match for 1 year. That's your background checks, activity cost, on it. And I'm guessing that was pre-COVID numbers. I'm guessing that's probably a little higher now.
I think the last I saw was an average between $1,500 to $1,700 a year. Yeah, so, and because it does cost us to do the background checks. I mean, we have to do fingerprints and all of this, and it's like nationwide background checks, and it's not cheap.
It's a thorough check.
Yes, and so and then the training materials, and there's a lot of upfront costs that we take care of to be able to make these matches. And then of course we have to pay the salaries of the degreed professionals that do this. So yes, we always need dollars as well.
So if you can't support physically, support financially.
Absolutely.
If you go to the website for Big Brothers Big Sisters here locally, and this covers all of Southeastern Mexico, from Carlsbad and Lee counties on up here in our neck of the woods. Go to www.bbssenm.org. It's the initials of Big Brothers Big Sisters Southeast New Mexico. So that's how you remember that if you can't. Just do that, or Google Big Brothers Big Sisters Roswell, Chaves County, Southeast New Mexico. Any of those names, tags will get you where you need to be.
Yes.
Now, you're more than likely just type Big Brothers Big Sisters. You're going to get the whole international part of it, so you're going to learn all about big, which is fine. But if you want to get more of the local, what's going on here, what the contacts for here, all of that's through the local bbbssenm.org website.
Yes, or you can give me a call at 627-2227, which is BBBS.
Yes. But there's a donate now button on the website too. So if you want to just go into it, but if you'd rather do something bigger or something different, you can, like you said, call Kim or come by the office on 2nd. Do you guys have that pretty much during business hours right now?
I'm there. Okay. Well, I'm not there right now.
Right. Well, I didn't know, but I know in the virtual world, you guys are doing a lot out of the office. I didn't know if you're hanging back in the office.
Yes, I'm there every day. So perfect. You guys can come see me and sign up. We are waiting for you.
Excellent. And of course, and also too, if you know a child that can benefit from the program, please reach out. Like I said, I know we got 34 waiting right now, but we don't want any child to miss. So just because that, and here's the thing, as bigs come in, I'm not trying to say you to get bumped to the front or nothing, but it's not about who gets first come, first serve. It's whose personality jives the best. You know what I mean? So it may just so happens that you recommend a child, they come in and just how happened to have been walking through the door earlier was a person that just seems to jive with that little, and voila, it just that match is made.
Yep.
So please reach out to Kim. Reach out if you, and like we said earlier, really anyone can recommend a child for Big Brothers. So it doesn't have to be the parent, doesn't have to be a teacher. It can be all of those, but doesn't just have to be. If you know a child in your life that could benefit from mentorship, whether you're a pastor or just a neighbor or whatever it is, please reach out and recommend. Now, obviously, if you talk to the parents first, maybe if you recommend,
because we do have to have the parents' permission. Like we do have to have them on board.
Yeah, don't just spring them with that. But when Kim calls and says, "Oh, your child is a what?" Get them on board before you start recommending. But yes,
So
very good,
absolutely
excellent. One more time, give out the phone number for the office.
It is 627-2227.
Or like you said, www.bbbssenm.org. Again, that's short for Big Brothers Big Sisters Southeast of Mexico. And don't forget, and the office, by the way, is on 2nd Street in the executive. What's that name of that building?
The Executive West
building.
Yes.
It's on 2nd. If you're going towards Ruidoso, it'll be on your right as you're leaving town.
Yes,
there.
and we're in Suite 200.
Suite 200. Yeah, I used to say look for the big yellow monster, but it's not there anymore.
No,
it's gone.
It's gone.
That's no longer a landmark. Awesome. Well, thank you, Kim, as always. Appreciate the visit. Thank you for hanging out a little later today. We appreciate that. And we'll see you next time, okay?
All right. Appreciate it.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. It's